Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a fascinating and honestly, a deeply contemplative look at the true purpose of incarceration. For decades now, the global conversation around criminal justice has been kind of stuck in this loop, heavily focused on punitive measures. But what if we completely rethought what happens when someone enters the prison system? What if, instead of breaking people down, the system was actually designed to build them back up?
So, does incarceration strip away identity, or can it actually be a place to rebuild it? It's a pretty powerful concept, right? It directly challenges our traditional, everyday views on simply doing time. Think about it. When an individual is locked away, what happens to their sense of self, their culture, their dignity? It is a heavy question, for sure, but it's the exact foundation of a groundbreaking new approach to criminal justice that we are unpacking today.
Okay, let's dive right into this. First, we'll map out the crisis of identity within our current system. Then, we'll define a revolutionary framework called identity restoration theory. After that, we'll explore how education acts as the ultimate rebuilding tool, followed by a real-world case study from San Andreas. And finally, I'll give you all the details on how to get your hands on the newly released book covering this whole shebang.
Part 1. The Crisis of Identity and the Profound Loss of Self Within the Prison System.
You know, to really understand the solution, we first have to acknowledge the stark reality of the problem. Traditional incarceration often leads to severe marginalization. When a person enters the system, that intense focus on punishment frequently results in a total stripping away of human dignity and a complete loss of identity. They're suddenly removed from their communities, their families, and their cultural contexts, leaving just a massive, profound void.
But this crisis isn't just about being behind bars. There's a whole cocktail of compounding factors making this incredibly severe. Overpopulation and socioeconomic struggles breed crime and recidivism, which digs right into the deep roots of marginalization and cultural erosion found in overpopulated communities. On top of that, you have massive, unaddressed learning disabilities and literacy challenges within incarcerated populations. All of these factors agitate the crisis, making it nearly impossible for an individual to maintain any positive sense of self-worth.
Moving on to Part 2. Defining Identity Restoration Theory, a groundbreaking approach to rehabilitation.
So here is the formal definition of this highly anticipated theoretical framework created by Dr. Sigifredo Castelbritton. Identity Restoration Theory, or IRT, is redefining rehabilitation as the rebuilding of moral and social identity rather than merely focusing on punishment. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that this theory fundamentally shifts the focus of criminal justice. It humanizes justice reform. Instead of asking, how do we punish this person, IRT asks, how do we restore their dignity, their moral agency, and actually prepare them for successful social reintegration?
And this brilliantly illustrates that paradigm shift. The traditional approach leans heavily into punishment, which ultimately leads right back to identity loss, and quite often, a return to the system. The IRT approach, on the other hand, focuses squarely on moral and social identity rebuilding. This restores dignity and offers a restorative vision that actually advances sustainable social transformation. It is literally a night and day difference in philosophy.
Part 3. Rebuilding through Education. Let's look at the foundations, principles, and core constructs of IRT.
So how does this abstract theory build into actionable strategies? Well, according to the research, there are 3 primary pillars that enable individuals to successfully reclaim their self-worth after incarceration. Step 1 is moral renewal, rebuilding a person's inner ethical compass. Step 2 is educational empowerment, providing the actual knowledge and tools needed to navigate the real world. And Step 3 is cultural recovery, reconnecting individuals with their roots and their community identity. These 3 mechanisms work hand in hand to truly transform lives.
Education is the absolute engine here. Targeted educational empowerment specifically works to strengthen an individual's cognitive and emotional capacities. It actively develops those vital social skills and improves problem-solving abilities in offenders. By directly addressing those literacy and learning needs, education bridges the gap, allowing individuals to reclaim their sense of self. And why should we care about this? Well, because safer, thriving communities rely on individuals returning to them, capable, whole, and ready to contribute through inclusive societal reintegration.
Which brings us to Part 4, the San Andreas case study, the birthplace of identity restoration theory.
Now, theory is fantastic, but we need to see how this works in practice, right? We're grounding this in a deeply human, culturally specific story set in the Caribbean criminal justice system, specifically the San Andreas prison down in Colombia. The research here explores a profound journey from mere confinement to a true cultural awakening. It shows exactly how identity, justice, and education can converge to strengthen both individuals and entire communities in post-colonial contexts.
The data from this case study is just incredibly rich because it leans into specific, tangible action. It doesn't just look at broad, generic initiatives. It implements community-based programs using ancestral storytelling and native language integration guided directly by Rizal community elders. By weaving this highly specific cultural recovery right into their education, they effectively restored moral agency and social belonging for ex-offenders. It's living, breathing proof that when you bridge the gap between prison and society using the culturally grounded principles of IRT, you really can reduce recidivism and foster true rehabilitation.
Part 5. The book is available now, so you can dive deeper into identity restoration theory.
If you're as fascinated by this paradigm shift as I am, you are absolutely going to want to dive deeper. And luckily, the definitive resource for this framework is officially available now. Let's start with this big number 30. That represents the more than 30 years of experience in higher education held by the theory's architect and the book's author, Dr. Sigifredo Castel-Britton.
Dr. Britton's academic pedigree brings ultimate credibility to this groundbreaking research. He holds a PhD in criminal justice and a master's in forensic psychology from Walden University, plus another master's in educational psychology. He is the founder and director of Impact. That's the international movement of positive action in criminal justice transformation. And crucially for this particular work, he brings deep, authentic Caribbean roots from Old Providence and the Cayman Islands directly to his scholarship.
And guess what? His comprehensive 12-chapter textbook titled Identity Restoration Theory, IRT, in Caribbean Criminal Justice, Education, and Rehabilitation for Reintegration is officially published by Springer Nature and is available for purchase right now. This is an essential read for scholars, policymakers, and practitioners in criminal justice and correctional education who are actively looking for evidence-based strategies to implement real, lasting change.
Here's a quick breakdown of your purchasing options straight from Springer Nature. You can grab instant access to the ebook in EPUB or PDF formats to read on literally any device for $79.99, and you own it forever. If you're someone who prefers a physical copy, the durable hardcover edition is $99.99, dispatching in 3 to 5 business days with free worldwide shipping. Oh, and there are also institutional subscription options available if you need to license the ebook for your entire library or university.
I highly encourage you to check out this incredible new book. But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. How might restoring dignity transform your own community's approach to justice? Think about it. If we stop focusing solely on punishment and start focusing on moral and cultural rebuilding, what kind of society could we create? It's a powerful question to ponder. Thank you so much for joining me today, and as always, keep learning.